Okay, we're at the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse. This is the lighthouse station. This is where the lighthouse is, and we've already been to the top of that bad boy, and this is just a phenomenal piece of engineering. But we're also at the station. This was a remote outpost in the late 19th century. This was built in 1880 something or other. They had in order the chief lighthouse keeper and his family lived in that house. The first assistant and their family lived in that house, and then there was a second assistant and their family lived in this house. So, and this was remote. I mean, these people had to get along because this was it. I mean, these however many people there were here, you know, it would have been at least 2 or 3 people each house, maybe more, depending on how big the families were. And usually families were pretty good size back in those days. And this was it. This is where they were. The houses were built, and you know, this isn't a heritage village. This is where the original location was built. Now, the first lighthouse, interestingly enough, was built on the other side of Ponce Inlet, which was called Mosquito Inlet at that point, in 1835. It was attacked and by the Seminoles during the Second Seminole War, and eventually slipped into the sea, which I thought was fascinating because that means there's got to be some ruins somewhere. Then this was built, you know, I guess 40, 50 years later, after that one was slipped into the sea. So we'll take a look at some of the houses. We're not going to go extensively in each one. They're all museums. And I photographed everything that I thought was of worth without going through and adding narrative explanations to each one. But what I thought was bore explanation was this lighthouse. This is this brick that we see right here goes down into the ground 12 feet. This is a solid brick block, basically. They didn't have concrete back in those days, so they couldn't, you know, pour reinforced rebar or anything like that. Brick was what they used. I don't know where it came from. It doesn't really matter at this point, but it is what they used. So that's 12 feet thick, going all the way down to the bottom. And the base of the lighthouse is, the walls are 20 feet thick at the base, and at the very top they're 2 feet thick. Or is it 12 feet? Yeah, I think it's 12 feet at the bottom. Anyway, of course it tapers up because that's how the engineering had to be, and that's about as high as you can get a brick building without any kind of steel reinforcement. I mean, this is when they started, the whole skyscraper technology was back in the late 19th century. But a lot of steel was involved, started becoming involved in that as the technology advanced. The guy that built this, he invented a way to build it to continue like a series of platforms or a series of scaffolding that just went up as the building went up. And apparently it just drew tighter and tighter, and it couldn't fall down because it was essentially wrapped around the building. It's far more advanced than I'm making it sound, but it was so innovative, and the guy that engineered this building invented that way, and it was used from then on in lighthouse construction. So that was pretty cool. Oh, and this is the tallest lighthouse in the state. So that's pretty cool. I managed to climb all the way up the tallest lighthouse in the state. And we'll just give a quick view of the grounds here. This is the main grounds. There would have been a lot more stuff back in those days going on in between. I don't know where these people, they all have fireplaces, and it would have been chilly over here during the winter, but I don't know where they would have got their wood. They would need wood to cook and everything else. I guess at some point somebody brought it out to them. There were no roads out here. Everything had to be shipped in. I'm sure there was a dock somewhere along here There's a marina not far from here, so that's probably where that was located. I'm not sure the gift house has any significance historically. This is this site, this lighthouse, is on the National Register of Historic Places. So again, we're not going to go into, and I hope I don't regret not doing that, but I'm not going to go into each one of these. I've been in them. There's some really neat exhibits. I photographed everything I thought was of worth and note. Of course, everything's of worth. This building here, you can't even get in. It's all windowed off. Plexiglass everywhere. I just think this is a phenomenal thing, and there's photographs here and online of them building it in the late 19th century, so that's pretty exciting too. So go through here and see what this is all about over here. Don't want to miss anything. There's they call that the privy, so that must be the bathroom, and they almost have used it. So again, it's just important to note, I think, that they all would have had to have gotten along, if not be friends, at least be very, very friendly. So this is a neat little exhibit here, some sort of lighthouse exhibit, which makes sense. So I know that they use glass and mirrors and stuff to make, to project the light further than what it would be, and that's what this technology and science is all about. I'm sure a lot smarter people than me can figure all this out. Suffice to say that it works. History of lighthouse illumination. Yeah, I was going to mention that in the old ancient times they would have bonfires, and those would serve as lighthouses. And it just talks about the history of the technology. The Fresnel lens, apparently that was a huge leap in the technology. Fresnel, not Fresnel, Fresnel. I should know that, that's French, okay. And various kinds of lenses, and it talks about how it worked and everything. Oh, cool, we got some rotating here. Very neat, very cool stuff. So we're going to shut this down for now.